Every day we're inundated with more and more pro-war propaganda. We don't see any fair coverage in the media. We're subject to huge amounts of bias. So it's always a delight for me every Thursday when I can turn to Seumas Milne's column and read what is really going on in the world. Please welcome Seumas Milne.
Thanks very much, Kate, and thanks to all of you for coming today in this miserable weather to this demonstration against the latest war in Iraq. Now, the horrific killing of the hostage Alan Henning in revenge for the British decision to bomb Iraq is a reminder, if any were needed, that another war in Iraq or Syria won't stop terror. It will only spread terror. The group that calls itself the Islamic State is the ultimate blowback from the invasion of Iraq a decade ago. And the covert intervention in Syria that has been taking place. Just as Al-Qaeda grew out of the Western war in Afghanistan in the 1980s, ISIS is the Frankenstein monster of the war on terror. It is a direct product of aggression, occupation, divide and rule sectarianism, and support of dictatorship by the United States, Britain and their allies. The very idea that yet more bombing, special forces, client rebel groups will solve the backlash from the last war simply beggars belief. The record from Afghanistan, Iraq, Somalia, Pakistan, Yemen, Mali, and Syria shows that to be a complete fantasy. 3 years ago, we were told that the air war on Libya would stop a massacre. But it increased the death toll a tenfold. It unleashed ethnic cleansing on a horrific scale and left the country in the grip of chaos and civil war. The very idea that the states who are responsible themselves for at least 500,000 deaths in Iraq, 4 million refugees, mass torture and a sectarian bloodbath should now be the ones to launch a humanitarian intervention in Iraq and have the right to protect, the responsibility even to protect Iraqis is beyond satire. That is not to say, of course, that nothing can be done. We need concerted pressure for a UN-backed deal between the main regional powers. We need to wind down the war in Syria and stop the flow of arms and back a genuine unity government in Iraq. But it's only Iraqis and Syrians and the people of the region that can defeat ISIS and rebuild their countries. We now face the certain risk of mission creep, or mission gallop as it already is, the escalation of the war, the certain threat of a spike in Islamophobia and terror attacks here at home. The reality is that the Western powers intervene in the Middle East and Iraq more than anywhere else, not for humanitarian reasons, but to keep control of the resources of the region. The United States and its allies are at the heart of the problem in the Middle East. They are not its solution. Tragically, that's a lesson that has to be learned again and again. Stop the bombing, end the war. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Seumas. Could I ask if